I got 3 fantasy football strategies that you guys need to at least consider. The very first one up there is draft strategies 0 running back. Let me take a sip. Yo, it's good beer. Okay, so first, if any of these strategies that you guys don't like, follow me on Twitter, MitchellRens365. I can hook you up with some more, but these are my top 3, right? So draft 0 running backs in the first 3 rounds. That's 0 running back. Really, in order for this to work, you're going to need to find a late running back sleeper. So anybody who did this strategy last year and got a guy like Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, you're probably like, damn, that was a really good move, right? And I think this is one of those where you can find a better for PPR leagues because you can find later round running backs who can be like pretty solid guys like a Duke Johnson, like a Christian McCaffrey. But why is it good? Well, to be honest, wide receivers are considered a little bit safer picks because running backs get hurt. A guy like David Johnson, he got hurt last year. That kind of screwed your team, and in the past, we've seen running backs go down, right? Why is it bad? This might force you to lose on those solid running backs. If you're one of those first 4 picks in the draft, I don't recommend doing 0 RB because I want one of those studs, right? And ultimately, though, for like this kind of strategy, do mock drafts, practice, because practice makes perfect. Okay, next strategy I got for you guys coming on the board, 0 wide receivers. We just talked about 0 running backs. Now this, can't draft a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, and you got to find a deep wide receiver sleeper in order for you to win. A guy who's going to just show up and play super well, right? Like a Doug Baldwin 2 years ago. Like, he helped you win a league. I think this is a strategy that you can implement for a standard league because if we can find one of those stud running backs, like a Todd Gurley, like a Ezekiel Elliott, that's how you're going to win a league, right? So why is it good? Well, stud running backs, they're a huge advantage. And anytime I can get a whole bunch of stud running backs early in my draft, that's something that's going to help me win my league, right? Why is it bad? Well, you're going to lose value on wide receivers. You're going to lose out on the guys like DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to lose out on Antonio Brown. You're going to lose out on guys like Doug Baldwin. I get it. This one, though, you just got to be flexible. You got to try to stay flexible throughout your entire draft. Get your solid running backs, your tight end, and don't handcuff yourself later on where you're like, oh my God, I got to get a wide receiver. But I would look to get a wide receiver then round 4, round 5, round 6. Okay, before we get into my favorite fantasy football draft strategy, I'm going to send this one over to my girl, Jay, for a short word from Tavor.
All right, you guys, before we get back to Fantasy Football AF with Mitch, I've got to tell you about his beer sponsor, Tavor. Beer drinkers, listen up. This is the app you need. You can now have everyday access to craft beer you can't get in your own area. A custom box of beer delivered directly to your door. You can sign up today at Tavor.com, but make sure to use that promo code CHATSPORTS so you get $10 off your order, $20 or more.
Thanks, Jay. Cheers to you. And cheers to y'all, fantasy football fam. So my favorite draft strategy is tier-based drafting. Now, you see the tier over there? Yeah, not quite the same tier, but the message I want to send is you got to be like water. You got to stay flexible. You got to just go with the flow, and that's why I love tier-based drafting. So, first, rank every position in fantasy football. Running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, right? And then you're going to put them in tiers. So tier 1, my tier 1 running backs, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, and then there's a tier break, right? That's the tier break, and then it's Saquon, it's Alvin Kamara. My tier 1 wide receivers, Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. So if I'm drafting and DeAndre Hopkins and Antonio Brown are off the board, that's when I'm going to start looking for maybe other tier 1 kind of players, like my top running backs, right? So this is hands down my favorite running back strategy, or my favorite draft strategy, because it just helps you be flexible, and every fantasy football draft is different. So going into a draft, there's always, like, with them being different, like, you can't go into maybe an exact set strategy or else you're going to lose on value. And I think, like, this really helps you simplify the draft. And this is just the only thing I'll say that you can get in trouble with is I like to wait on quarterbacks. Just because a quarterback's a tier 1 guy like Aaron Rodgers doesn't mean you should take him in the first round because, well, your tier 1 running backs and wide receivers are gone. Wait on quarterback. I think that's where you can get yourself in trouble. And ultimately, be prepared to do draft tiers, because if you go in prepared with tiers, you're going to come out feeling really solid about your draft. Okay, out of all the drafts I just talked about, strategies, which draft strategy is your favorite? Do you like tier-based? Give me a like. If you like 0 running back, give me a laughing face. If you like 0 wide receiver, give me a nice little heart. Or if you got another one, comment below, because, again, I'm all about learning. And if you guys can help me with my fantasy football draft, I'm totally about it.